Oh, Davy Moisey. Oh, Davy Moisey. Oh, damn, I missed the raid. Man. I'm gutted. But big up to everybody that's still here, man. Let's go, people. David Moisey, mate. Moisey done a job. Finally done us a good, mate. Go on, Moisey, lad. Hold tight, Liverpool. Hold tight. Big up for the Seud raider. Big up for Seud, man. Big up. Big up for Seud for the raid. Yeah, man. Big up to everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. We got a bit of a jam-packed show for you tonight. But hold tight, David Moisey. Let me just bring you this breaking news. Premier League breaking news. It's Premier League breaking news. And there's some afters as well, people. There are some afters. But let's have a laugh at the Liverpool, eh? Let's have a laugh at Liverpool. I think if they would have won tonight, they would have won the league. I think they might still go on to win the league. But, hey, it all went off. It's gone off. But there we go, people. Curtis Jones having it. Decore having it. Both of them sent off. But it's all nothing. But yeah, big up to David Moisey. Yeah, people. Yeah. The most important result there. He got a bit techie at the end. But big up to David Moisey. How about a like for the video for Moisey, eh? How about a like? Moisey. Big up this guy. He says, Moisey average Trafford has fallen. Let's all have a laugh at Liverpool. Listen, I'm a commie. Come on, Moisey. Sorry. Let's have a laugh at Liverpool. Come on, Moisey. Yeah. Big up. Big up to you, man. Big up to you, Ben. Ben, let me know if you want to jump on. Let me know. I'll send you the link now, actually. Yeah, you can jump on or not. Listen, we've got a bit of a jam-packed show to you tonight, people. I'm not going live till there's worthy news, and there's a lot of topics to get through tonight. So hopefully we shall be where we need to be, but there's a lot of topics. We're going to hit it right out, and hopefully people will jump on. People will join us, and then we can talk about it. Hopefully Jarvis will join us. Hopefully Sean will join us. Bumbaye will join us. And then we can get going, people. We can get going. But big up to everybody. Jarvis is here already. Hey, sorry. Jarvis.
Hey.
Better watch out. Jarvis is about. Jarvis, yes. A lot of things to discuss. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations on monetizing, Jarvis. Well done. Tactical Devils. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolute lift off, people. Let's get Tactical Devils to 2,000, 3,000. Let's go, people. Road to 3K. Let's go. Let's do this, people. Therapy Army, let's be having you. But yeah, we can all have a little chuckle at Liverpool tonight.
Yes.
I think if they would have won this game, they would have won the league. I think the confidence would have been high. Yeah, Bombay hopefully will be coming as well. But yeah, Bombay is in a lot of pain. I'm just gonna send the link to Ben. But yeah, Jarvis, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to see all the people in the house. It's brilliant that Liverpool are dropping points. There's still the title race is still alive. There's still a hope that we can keep the title, the most winning club in England. That would be great. Yeah. So let's just hope that Arsenal can get it together and start getting a string of wins. But I understand that Havertz is injured for the rest of the season and they don't have a striker. So I wouldn't rely on Arsenal picking up Liverpool. But we also had Nottingham Forest. But who knows? It's football. So yeah, but I've been watching Champions League tonight. I saw Celtic play against Bayern Munich. It was a good game. Celtic almost had them at the end. They equalized. Arsenal were 2-0. No, Bayern Munich were 2-0 up, and then Celtic equalized. Scored, and they were pushing really hard for the last 10 minutes, but they couldn't get the 2-2 equalizer goal in. But it was a good game.
Yeah, big up.
It's a brilliant atmosphere at Celtic Park.
Yeah,
Wow, those
amazing.
fans,
It
incredible
never,
fans.
yeah, honestly, it
Yeah.
never seems to amaze me. So
Mm.
much culture, so much history. But let's get back and just show you a bit of the Champions League. Scores and fixtures tonight from the Champions League. Here we go. Club Brugge 2-1. I thought Club Brugge were so lucky. That was never a pen. If you watch that game, you know what I'm talking about. Celtic again pushing really hard. Milan were dog shite against Feyenoord. Feyenoord deserved to win. I didn't watch that one, Monaco, Benfica, but I knew it was going to be a tight game.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool, obviously their game in hand, that was cancelled.
Yeah.
Their game in hand because of that winter freeze. Was it December or November? It was like really windy, so that game got called off. But so yeah, but Club Brugge robbed Atlanta tonight. I feel so bad for the Atlanta players and the Atlanta coach. Yeah, it was a handoff, like the both striker and the defender going for the ball, and he just went like that. And then the striker throws himself 6'4" or 5. The Swedish striker throws himself onto the ground, and then he gets the penalty. Turkish referee gives the bloody penalty. So it was shocking. But yeah, Feyenoord were the better team and won, rightfully won.
Feyenoord are doing really well this
yeah,
this
I mean, at
season.
home, they've got some incredible record in European football at home, Jarvis.
Yes.
They are very difficult to beat. Very difficult to beat at home. Very difficult team to beat at home. They're not an easy. Obviously, they played in the Europa League more times than any other league, in the Champions League. But yeah, very difficult. But Jarvis, we've got a jam-packed show. I don't know if you saw the Jamie Jackson, the absolute snake. I used to like Jamie Jackson. Now he's a fucking snake now, working for fucking Ineos, running Ineos cover. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We're just woefully waiting for the rest of the lads to join, so then we can crack on with the topics, because we've got a lot of topics tonight. So Ineos, breaking news is that Ineos, and a representative from Ineos has given Jamie Jackson an exclusive, saying that Manchester United, all other 200 people need to be sacked, and that Jim the Rat has to make the cuts so that Manchester United are financially sound in 2 years. But here in this channel, we get to the heart of that, because this is where we're an expert in this, because we follow this. In football, you cannot run football as a business and expect to compete for trophies. You cannot. You cannot. Every owner takes a loss in football, but they want Manchester United to go back to being a money-making machine for Ineos and the Glazers. And that's where we're at. And we called it out from day one. I hate that we're proving right. I really hate that. And then we want to talk about the club being for players apparently leaking to the press again. Scholes, I was watching the overlap, and Scholes is definitely Ineos out. He said he prefers Daniel Levy from Spurs to take over Manchester United. Yeah. And then we close out with Ineos again are getting sued by the All Blacks. So there's been loads of things. And then the other major news as well, that Ineos are losing money as a company, right, left and center. They've been demoted in the New York, and what's it called? Flinch and something. These New York hedge fund, these New York corporate analysis, they've lowered their rankings because they're taking loss. Yes, Jarvis, we've got that for you tonight. We've got all sorts of things for you tonight for the show, people. We've done our homework, people. We've done our homework. We're not messing about. We're not messing about. So yeah, we're not messing about. But we'll get that going. But yeah, big up, Jarvis. How are you? How's the family? Everything good?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, Norway. It's this time of year. The sun is coming back. Now the winter is starting to slip a little bit. It's been raining a couple of days, so yeah, it is what it is. A lot of good football these days now. Champions League. It's just a shame that we are not competing in the biggest league. We are not competing in Champions League. We are still in Europa League, and I think it will be a lot of years until we are back in the Champions League. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's good quality football tonight. And yesterday, did you see Real Madrid against Manchester City? Yeah, I'm so impressed by Real Madrid. And oh my God, Vitinha, that's his name on PSG. Yeah. Did you see him? Oh, I love that type of player, Vitinha. So he's like a maestro. So
Yes.
technical. Just glides through with ball, like small movements with his body, and yeah, so what a beautiful player, you know. That's the players type I want at Man United. The kind of
Yeah.
Pirlo, Modric, Vitinha
Yeah.
type of player.
He's a
Really,
brilliant player, but I did
yes.
think that penalty against who they play. They play
Um,
Brest. Was it
yeah,
Brest they
Brest,
played?
yes.
Yeah, that was a harsh penalty. I'm sorry to say, but he's tried to get his hand out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
tried to get his hand
it's
out.
Champions League. They have different rules when it comes to penalties. It's
It's
much
bullshit.
softer than we are
I
used
don't
to.
agree with it. It's
Yeah.
absolute bullshit, Jarvis.
But
Big
by the
up
way,
to people.
by the way, Nordin, I just want to say big up to my good old pal Stu Wally coming in, and it's his birthday today. So I just want
Hey!
to
Let's go,
congratulate him
people.
on air.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Birthday,
birthday, Stu
Stu
Wally.
Wally.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday
you.
to you.
Hooray!
Hurrah!
Hooray!
Hurrah!
Listen, big up to Stewie, man. Stu Woolley. Yeah, congratulations. You can monetize now. Brilliant, guys.
Yes.
Big up to all the work that you're doing on the Tactical Devils. And happy birthday. I hope you're having a fantastic day, mate. Lots of love to you. We're going to be, unfortunately, we haven't got good news when it comes to Manchester United. Other than that, I think our youth team won tonight, if I'm not mistaken. They beat Chelsea. Chelsea
Yes.
have a really good youth team. I think last time I checked, it was 3-1. Somebody let me know what's happening with
No,
that.
they scored 5. Obi
Was it
Martin scored a
5?
hat trick.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It was
5
3-1.
goals.
I was watching it on a dodgy, and
Yeah.
the thing kept breaking. So I left it alone. But 3-1, I was watching it till 3-1. So big up to Stewie Woolley, man. Lots of love to you. And hope you're having a great birthday, mate. And the family is all love. Hope you're having a glass of red, a glass of Guinness, whatever your poison is, and you're taking it easy. Big up to Steve and Coppers and Nerding Jarvis. Informative show, yeah. That's what we do on this channel. We try to educate, we try to bring it. So big up to Sean. Sean, how you doing? I hope you're well.
Big up, guys. Yeah. Big up, Jarvis. Big up, Nerdin. Trying to get lunch together.
Yeah, big up to you, man. Big up to you, and lots of love. Like I said, I've got a jam-packed show for tonight. We're gonna get into all the crux of what's going on at Manchester United, but let's not get it twisted, people. Manchester United is a club in crisis, and Jim Narat is telling you, in 2 years' time, Manchester United will make profit. Taking the fucking piss. He doesn't understand how football works. Every football club in the Premier League, every owner takes a loss.
Not necessarily, though. I heard you and Jarvis talking about this point.
I'm sorry.
That's why I actually came on.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Sean. Yes, it is. Majority. Look at the Villa owners. Look at Man City. How much money they pumped it in. In this, you have to put most of your money or get to the club in a certain and get lucky with a coach, get lucky with signings, and then do what you have to do. Do you think Villa have got there by where they are now in the table and being in the Champions League by just because they were just very good football? They were fighting relegation. They've got billionaire owners who just put money in. That's all they do. They put money into the football.
Let me know when I can respond.
In football, let me just express, Sean, you know a lot more about business. You and Jarvis know more about business than I will ever do. But I'll tell you now, I know fucking football business. And you two or anybody, I can take my football knowledge, business knowledge to anybody. Majority of clubs operate from their owners at a loss. Unless you get very sustainable football club where Manchester United were for a long time under the Edwards before they sold, where Manchester United were winning league titles, and he was building the stadium at the same time putting the money back into the. He ran it like a fucking non-profit. He was putting a lot of money back into the football club. Right? The Glazers have come in, mismanaged this football club to death. So I don't want to raise my voice. I don't want to argue with you. I'm going to mute, and you tell me how business and football business is the same. Explain that to me.
So if I can just respond, right? I totally accept your claim that most football clubs run at a loss. That's to be expected, right? But there's varying degrees of losses. Right? A $5 million a year loss is much different from $100 million a year loss. So you have to consider the scale, right? I think clubs like Aston Villa, most of the clubs in Premier League, part of the problem with United, part of we've all been complaining about is that the club is run inefficiently, right? So it's one thing to run on a loss, it's another thing to exacerbate those losses by inefficient practices. So by hiring players on ridiculous wages, carrying bloated staffing, and bloated basically workforce essentially. That's how you end up with losses that your business cannot sustain. So despite the fact that clubs are meant to run on a loss, I think on one hand it does matter the quantity of that loss. And then secondly, part of what PSR is trying to achieve, right, is to level the playing field. So this idea of everybody having billionaire owners that step in to bridge the gap is not sustainable. And we also, as football fans, we also don't want to live in a world where, basically every season it's an arms race for who has the most money and who can stack their squad with the best players, basically from around the world. So you need some way of leveling the playing field, which is what all these PSR and fair play policies are about. So I totally understand it, right? If you're somebody out there watching this show who is going to lose your job as a result of the cost-cutting measures, sorry about that, right? Wish you all the best. But as a fan, from my perspective, I understand it. I totally understand what Sir Jim is trying to do. I think if you criticize the Glazers in the past for running the club inefficiently, I think you have to be open to the possibility that a club like Man United had a bloated payroll, had a very bloated payroll with lots of redundancies and with lots of staff that maybe their jobs were not super essential, right? And the payroll could do with some trimming. Now, obviously, all these savings is supposed to translate into investment into the team. So that's the second leg of everything, right? We have to wait and see if the savings that they are making on cost cutting translates to actual investment in the squad. But on the face of it, I don't see why we should have a problem with Ineos trying to cut costs within Manchester United as an organization.
I reject a lot of the conclusions that you come to because you're still talking about like how football club when the way Manchester United if you go back to the first videos, the first 3 or 4 months or even a year of this channel, we talked about how the Glazers, there was going to come to a day where the Glazers would have to make a decision about what's happening with Manchester United because they ran it into the ground. They siphoned, they paid down $1.5 billion of the interest. They've not even paid down the debt for the past 19 years, right? And a lot of people used to tell me, Jarvis, Sean, and Ben, used to tell me, oh, that's every business is in debt. That's what happens. You're in debt. But we've paid down £1 billion in debt. And then to top it all of that, knowing everything he knows, he's coming to bed with them, knowing that. And now, because he's getting some of the fans are kicking off, he's coming out saying, oh, yeah, it's the losses, 300 million losses. What about the billion that is being paid? If that billion that's being paid in payment interest, Jarvis, where would Manchester United would be? Where would they be? Where would they be? So I reject what the most conclusion you come to, Sean, because Glazers have effed us up and mismanaged us, where a lot of people like you, yourself, and other people would keep telling me, no, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. Well, now chickens have come home to roost, and they've come home to roost on the pitch and off the pitch. So now Jim the Rat is telling you, I need to sack another 200 more people. I'm talking about cleaners. These people are not on big wages. The average wage of the people he's sacking is 30 grand, 40 grand, if that, right? So this idea that's going to, and then he just sacked Dan Ashworth, paid him how much of his contract? He must have paid at least 3 million, right? Paid 3 million to get him, sacked him, is going to give him another 3 million after 4 months. Sacked Eric Ten Hag, kept him in a job, and then sacked him in his coaching staff, and that cost about 20 million. So I'm sorry, son. I know, I'm sorry. I reject this.
Let's be sure you're responding to what I said.
I'm going to move because when I finish, then you can come back. I reject this. The mistakes that Ineos have already made has cost jobs. So what does he do to cover that up? They've already spent up to the sacking of Ashworth, the sacking of the coaching staff, the sacking of Ten Hag, All of that is adding up to almost 30 million plus.
No, but
So
I'm not sure I
second
understand
people-
your.
let me finish, on. Let me finish. Just write down and keep a note of what you're going to say. I'm rejecting that. It's time for the United fans to get together and get these vultures out, because he's telling you in 2 years Manchester United is going to be profitable. How are you going to be profitable if you haven't got teams, players to compete? I'm sorry, Sean. The idea that you said to me is an arms race. It's been an arms race. Football has been an arms race. The day they allowed Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich to come into the league, and then they allowed Man City come into the league. It's been an arms race. They get the better players. They're the most successful football clubs.
No, but what are we actually
What are you
arguing
talking
over
about?
now, right? If you're saying that Ineos don't need to sack anybody,
No,
then
no, they
then
don't.
then,
No,
then I
they
don't
don't.
I don't
No, they
disagree with
don't.
that.
They need
I
to.
don't disagree
I'm
with
sorry,
that.
the Glazers. I'm sorry, Sean. The Glazers have fucked the club up. They need to put them money in their pockets. All of the dividends they took out, they need to bail the club out with that money.
Right.
That's
So
what
that's
I'm
where
saying.
so that's where we
That's what I'm
disagree,
saying.
right?
That's
So
what I'm saying. It shouldn't be the
among
fan
ourselves,
base. Listen, let me finish. The fans didn't fuck this up. The employees didn't fuck this up. The Glazer decision making with their bankers, Sean, which you were happy with, Sean. Let's get that right. You were defending after show after show after show on here, and the
I
evidence.
hope I get to actually express my own position and
No,
not
the
you tell it
evidence.
for me.
No, the evidence that you were defending them. You were
Okay.
defending them. So they fucked this up. So now it's up to the fans and it's up to the to the employees of this football club to pay for it. Fantastic.
Okay.
I want to hear
So-
from Jarvis. Sean, right
Wait,
now.
wait, wait, wait. Sorry, Jarvis. Just 1 second, right? Because this happens a lot
go on.
where I say something and in the course of the argument it gets misrepresented. So just to be clear, I don't disagree with you if you say, wow, it's too bad that these players got to be sacked. Where we disagree, right, is I'm not trying to score any points with the fans for being the most passionate, the most righteous United fan. I couldn't care less, right? I'm simply saying it's a legitimate business strategy to use leverage in your business to raise debt and to fund your operations using debt. Perfectly legitimate. Also perfectly legitimate for sports. It's perfectly legitimate for the Glazers to not want to sell such a valuable investment like Man United. I don't understand what leverage the fans think that we have, right? United is a publicly traded company. The materials are available for anyone to go and look up. If you have now $4 or $5 billion, you're well within your rights to take over publicly. You can buy the shares and effect the change that you want to see, right? So within ourselves, if we want to scream about who is most righteous in their indignation about the Glazers, then I lose automatically. But if we're talking about the business of football, right, as I assume we are, then I think the Ineos team at least is acting well within the bounds of normal football business behavior. Sorry, Jarvis.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Well, when it comes to my opinion on this, on a personal level, I hate it when people lose their jobs. It's not a good thing. There's so many families and people's lives that are what do you call it, that are infected by this sacking of Ineos and the Glazers. But in a way, when you read it, it's like Ratcliffe and Ineos are blaming PSR restriction and financial mismanagement of the Glazers in the past. So they feel like they have one hand behind their back. They can't do anything. So
Yeah.
they have to fix this first. This is I'm just summing up how I see the situation. I'm not stating my opinion. So this is what Ineos and Ratcliffe are saying. But on the other hand, they came in and bailed out the Glazers because they were going bankruptcy with this club. They were struggling. So they were maybe forced to sell. So in a way, I think I'm not playing the world's smallest violin for Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because I think he has no compassion from me. he needs to fix this, and he needs to take care of the organization of Man United and the people's working here. And it have to take care of the match going fans, the season ticket holders, and we can't just think profit because it's a soul of the club that's on stake. We are going to lose Old Trafford. We are going to build a new stadium, whatever, and it will be soulless. It will be like an entertainment factory coming in there. So the old United as we know it is probably dead. But to come back to the matter of issue is the operational costs, and to keep the operational cost of the day-to-day business down as low as possible. That's important because that will give us more money to spend on players and wages. So this is what they are doing in now. They are outsourcing. Maybe I believe they are outsourcing the jobs to Ineos' company. They have people there who can do the same job as the people in Man United, and they are outsourcing it, put the cost on Ineos, and just billing Man United low cost. So in a way, the operational cost will go down with the sacking 100 people, and for us, I think it's good because I think Man United have spent money unwisely. But I feel for the people, and I'm not saying it's a good thing. But from a business perspective, I think it's a wise decision to keep the operational cost down.
But Jarvis, let me explain this to you. When you are going all over the place, making huge cuts across all departments, you're not going to go back to winning ways ASAP. The only tested, proven thing in the Premier League is an injection of money with the right people to know what they're doing with that money, Jarvis. Nobody has ever come in and said, I'm going to run a very prudent, I'm going to run it like a business, like he said, keeping the cost down, and then gone on to be successful in terms of challenging for league titles and win and going back to the Champions League. I just want to bring Ben in. Go ahead, Ben. Big up to Shekarian, by the way. 18-year-old Shekarian now, eh? The world is yours. The world is yours, my friend. Big up. I hope you had a lovely time with your 18th birthday celebrations. And good to see you. Big up to everybody in the chat. Please do smash a like on the video because you're not going to get this level of analysis about what the real stuff that's going on with Manchester United. Not the Jadon Sancho, not the fucking, what's his name? Jesse Lingard, the United fans just try to find scapegoats to scapegoat. We're talking about the real people who are in position of power. Jim the Ratcliffe, in business, Jarvis, I heard if you're gonna put money in business, you see all the accounts. He could have walked away from this shit, and now he's in it because he wants the property, and his business is failing. So when I told you he was a broke billionaire, I'm right, and I show you the evidence. Big up, Ben. How you doing, Ben? How was it? Free Island, man. Talk to me.
Yes, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? All good?
We good?
All good, all good. First things first, big up to the Green Wall, the Celtic, up the Celtic. There's still a chance, obviously, at the Alliance Arena, so that's
unbelievable.
I know, mate. As soon as they got one back, I was like, okay, there's still a chance. There's still a chance. And then another thing, big up to Everton. Honestly, I just do not want to see 2-0 on Liverpool's history for that Premier League title. I do not want to see number 20 for Liverpool. I just don't. I'd rather see Arsenal win it, even though I hate their fan base. But you know, at the end of the day, like it's the Arsenal are no one to us. Like forget Arsenal. But anyways, yes, no, I'm keeping well. But I just on. I heard I've been listening to what all these have been saying, and I'm kind of going towards Jarvis. I'm kind of agreeing with you on this situation. I think it's very mixy, and obviously I'm already Ineos out because if Ineos got him another 2 signings in January, then I would have given him the benefit of the doubt for the summer. But even still, Sir Jim wanted to buy 27% of the club, and at the end of the day, you know, he wants to fricking sleep with the Glazers. So at the end of the day, Sir Jim's a fucking rat, and he always will be a rat. But anyways, if I feel sorry for all those, you know, people who have lost their jobs at United, and obviously there's, if it was 100 or 200 people that are losing their jobs soon.
100,
yeah. Like at the end of the day, you know, it's not a nice thing at all. Like to lose your job and stuff. But at the end of the day, I see it as like if I'm working at United and I see, I've obviously worked for so many years under the Glazers, and I see a new person come in through the gates, and obviously he's obviously another boss. So obviously you've got the Glazers, and then now you've got Ineos. At the end of the day, you're gonna, as a staff or as an employee of United, you're gonna be really, really nervous. You're gonna be like, shit, is my job actually safe? Because at the end of the day, a boss can come in and straight away say, no, Joel, no, Avram, I don't like how you're setting this up here. There's too many staff. Someone need to go. And I know that's shit. That's just shit, but that is just life at the end of the day. And I'm not backing Ineos. I fucking hate them for what they've done. I'd rather take the Qataris any day of the week. I was hoping, but obviously these things happen. But anyways, I just for the business perspective, because I've seen there were several reports on Twitter that apparently Manchester United have apparently the most staff out of any Premier League club, and apparently they have the wages are through the roof. But at the end of the day, in a business perspective, it's not great because obviously you're still going to be losing money. I think they were losing 300 million a year. But at the end of the day, any top club can lose money in each year. This is why Liverpool, the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, even you can even argue Arsenal. They make smart decisions, and actually, they have for example, the commercial side of things. They actually get deals sorted, so they don't have to worry about this shit about sacking employees. Whereas us, we've got literally fucking clowns. This club, obviously the Glazers, they literally our commercial side of things have been our values have been absolutely ridiculous over these last few years. I swear we lost. 1 year the Adidas deal, and then we lost another deal, massive deal, sponsorship deal, and the list goes on and on and on. So at the end of the day, I see two sides of it, and I do feel obviously really, really sorry, obviously, for anyone that has lost a job at United. But at the end of the day, if I'm working there and I'm seeing a new boss come into into my work, I'm not going to be confident. I'm going to be saying right here, the culture's already fucked at United. The Glazers are barely at Old Trafford or Manchester in general. So I'm going to be shitting myself because he's a local lad. He's obviously lives in Manchester, so called apparently. So I'm not going to be confident over my job at the moment. So at the end of the day, it's just one of them ones, mate. It's just life at the end of the day. A new boss comes in, and then you just don't know whether your job's safe or not, really, But at the end of the day, I can see why I cannot see why Sir Jim has sacked them in a way, because he is trying to save money. But at the end of the day, it's not in a good way, because it does sound like he is trying to obviously save money with the Glazers at the end of the day. But
I think the problem fundamentally is that we are villainizing people, I think, unnecessarily or unduly. Instead of reaching for a conspiracy, the simple reason why the Glazers sold to Ineos instead of the Qataris, aside from what I think are political considerations, right? Qatar was offering 5 billion for the full product. Ineos offered 1.6 for 20%. Which is a higher value, right? If you were an investor in a very profitable venture like Man United, and somebody offered you 5 billion for all your shares, or 1.6 billion for 20% of your shares, which means the value really is 8 billion. Of course you would sell to that person, right? So for me, there's no need to construct a kind of villain, Machiavellian person out of what I think are rational business decisions. Again, no one likes to see anyone lose their job. Much solace to all the people who are losing their jobs as a result of these cuts. I hope they get decent payouts from Manchester United, right, as compensation for being sacked. But as a business decision, it makes complete sense to me, right? And I don't really see where a conspiracy necessarily comes in, because the truth of the matter is that we're still going to be operating at a loss. But if you're looking for efficiency, right? If you're a United fan that has complained about the way the club was inefficiently run, and I think in the statements that we've heard from Ineos, they are alluding to the fact that the previous owners, the Glazers, they are basically suggesting that they took over the club from people who didn't know what they were doing. That's what everybody is saying, right? So I think we should take them essentially at that word. And if you're angry, direct your anger at the Glazers, but I think there's no conspiracy here. There's nothing to think, I think, from my perspective, too deeply about. It's simply kind of standard practice. If there is a merger, if there is an acquisition, usually their heads go on the chopping block. People get sacked, right? Like they try and streamline the operations to find the leanest possible arrangement that you can have to maximize your profits, basically. So, I think we should expect to see more of these cost cutting, but the main issue, I think, from my perspective, like I said, is that these savings from the costs have to be invested back into the squad. So if you're saving £30 million every year on wages that you no longer have to pay, I want to see that going to being invested in the club. So either in players or in a new stadium or in a new training ground. Let's see the other shoe, basically.
Facts. Yeah. That's a good point.
Okay, Sean. So Sean said it's not a conspiracy and there's no need to monger. Okay, exhibit. I've got my exhibits tonight, so get ready, people. Which one is it? The one. There you go. This is the one. Exhibit A. So let's get to it. Finch and Moody downgraded Ineos' financial outlook to negative. Right. Kieran Maguire, football financial expert. Right. I go down here. And big up Banks. Banks says Finch ratings Moody is which will provide financial health checks for most big companies. Said Ratcliffe's chemical business.
Oh.
Okay.
The Glazers got him.
Yeah, that's how powerful. That's how powerful they are. They can disappear you. No.
The thing is as well, like, for a business perspective as well, because obviously we've seen that they sacked Fergie, we've seen they sacked Robson. Obviously, they cut the salaries of Cole and Irwin. I can understand that, but like, see, like the 150 or 200 or whatever it is employees, like, I don't think none of this would ever happen if our commercial side of things, of the business side of things, would have been better. Like if we would have done more sponsorship deals. Like, if you look at United now, like, we barely have much sponsorship deals.
Yeah,
and that's obviously now you can argue the fact that it's because we haven't got European football. Like as soon as we get Champions League, then the sponsorship deals go crazy. But like just in general, like, this is Man United we're talking about here. Like,
I don't think sponsorship would be a problem for us. I think in terms of the brand, I think Manchester United still remains one of the most valuable sports brands in the world. So not just football, but in all the sports, I think Manchester United still remains a very recognizable, very valuable sports brand. So the deals on that aspect, I'm not really concerned about that. I think operationally, it totally makes sense to me.
Okay.
That United is kind of bloated.
Okay. Manchester United have not been in the last 12 years. I've been in the doldrums. Manchester United are losing younger fans in and around the local. They're the people who are going to fill the stadium. That's going to make the million a match that they make. So all of this, but let me just get back to this before I got taken out by Ratcliffe and his minions. So it says here, Flinch ratings, Moody's, Flinch rating and Moody's, which provide financial health checks for the most companies, said radical chemical companies have ranked up debts that were between 5 or 6 times larger than the company's annual earnings. So they knew this is not happening in a vacuum. This didn't happen quickly. So a broke guy whose business are failing jumps into bed with the Glazers to try to save us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you want me to understand now. That's what.
No, they're not going to save us, right? And it's important that we don't adopt that kind of framing. They're not coming to save us.
That's what he
right?
said, Sean. That's what he said. He said, "I'm going to put the Manchester back in Manchester," and he met up with Musk and all other Manchester United supporters associations. Met them all for cozy drinks at Old Trafford. Invited them all, and he said to them, "I'm not here to make money. I'm not about money." His other business, he's coming to make money from the property in and around Old Trafford. And there are people even talking about there might be some gas underneath or some of the property. I saw something put on social media. I don't know whether that's true or not. Fracking. But yeah, fracking. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I'm going to continue with where I was going with what I book noted. I've done the research, people. Do not worry. We're here. We're here tonight. We're live.
And just so I'm
I don't
clear,
know where my camera. There you go. Let me bring
just so I'm clear, the product of your research is that you're alluding to a conspiracy, right? That's
redundancies. So
okay.
big up Manchester United's redundancies will stop the club from going bust. So redundancies that's what he wants people to believe. And the level of this gaslighting is unbelievable. Let me just
That's constructed out of whole cloth.
Listen, let me get to what he's saying here. Let me just get to it. Understands the shit to make Manchester United popular, but feels a lack of awareness. How fucking dare you? How dare you? How fucking dare you?
No, but there is a lack of awareness now, because the entire conversation is innuendo.
Sean, I beg you to mute, bro.
Carry on with the conspiracy. Sure.
Just mute. You had your say. Let me just break it down, then you can come back at this. How fucking dare you, Jim the Rat Radcliffe? This channel and majority of us who were protesting against the Glazers have been screaming it from till anybody were willing to listen. We've been screaming the houses down, talking about what the Glazers have done to this football club. And how dare you fucking come out and insult our intelligence? You know how condescending that is? Do you know how condescending that is? He has no fucking choice. No choice. Where's all the flipping, all the money they took out of the football club? The £1 billion that they paid in down insurance payments, which he's part of. He does not talk about one bit. I would give him the benefit of the doubt, Jarvis, Sean, Bumbaye. Yeah. I would give this guy if he talks about what's going to do with the debt. Still, have you heard any information? Remember, Jarvis, before he came and invested into the football club, everybody was telling us, every Ineos stooge and all of the journalists, all the racist, Islamophobic, xenophobic pricks in this country who were all bumming him up, were all telling us, oh, you know what's going to happen? Ineos are going to take over the debt. Where are Ineos taking over what debt?
Yeah, they were stating a 3-year plan that they were going to absorb the debt into the company Ineos, and we will be debt-free in 3 years. Now we are 1 year into this quarter-sexual
so along those lines,
and nothing have happened yet.
So along those lines, don't you think it's a good thing to reduce operating expenses so that you have more cash flow to
Sean, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. You can come in a minute. I'll just go to Adam Crafton. Big up Adam Crafton. He's at least one journalist that tells the truth to a certain extent. Manchester United have made another 100 plus redundancies despite the club's financial report saying the program ended last August. Some ordinary staff believe their jobs impacted by botched Ineos decisions on Ten Hag, Dan Ashworth last summer window. Right? So there you go, people. If you want to believe in these things, I'm going to see if I can play a little bit of this.
£1 million already in fiscal year 24-25 on players who have taken them. There's talk about a breach of PSR, but at the same time, Manchester United have spent £219 million already in fiscal year 24-25 on players who have taken them oscillating between 12th and 13th. Purely comes down, in my opinion, to poor decisions. And those decisions have not got any better as a result of the change of ownership. What we have here is Manchester United saying, well, we'd like to invest more money, but we can't due to PSR. Why did they lose £300 million over the last 3 years? 200 million of that was interest. Where does that interest come from? Oh, the Glazers took out loans. Another 30 odd million pounds of that management consultancy advice to allow the Glazers to pocket an absolute fortune from the sale of shares. You look at that £300 million, £250 million of that, you can point the finger at the Glazers for that.
There you go. I rest my case. That is the #1 football expert in the country, in the UK. Don't argue with me. Don't get no emotional with me, people. Argue with the fucking facts. Did you hear what he said, or do I have to reload for you? Do you hear what he said? Do people hear what he just said, or do I have to reload it?
Yeah, it was clear. Someone said the sound was a little bit off, but
aside from the fact that what he's saying is simply just not true. right? The benefits of Manchester United being a publicly traded company is that, as I am doing right now, you can go online and look at their publicly available financial statements. And you can see, right? I'm looking at operating expenses for 2024. Employee benefit expenses, 364 million pounds. That's the largest line item, followed by amortization and depreciation, which are cash items that get added back. But for the operating profile of Manchester United, the biggest cost is employee benefit expenses, 364 million pounds in 2024, 331 million in 2023. Finance costs, which is where interest expense would be, finance costs in 2024 were 64 million pounds. In 2023, 44 million, 2022, 85 million, 21, 36 million, and 2020, 27 million. Right, so over a 5-year period, you're looking at getting close to the 300 million amount that person was quoting, right? But in this day and age of the internet, there's a lot of things available to feed your buyers, and it's important to stay grounded. Necessarily, that you're able to look up these things yourself, so you can again encourage everyone, go up, look up United's financials. You would see where most of the money is being spent, right? And you would see, as I just mentioned, why it makes sense to try and trim our employee workforce. Basically, it makes sense to me to try and trim the books. It's sad. It's all the Glazers' fault. It's because of poor management. 100%. I accept all of that. What I'm saying necessarily that it's not a conspiracy, because it makes sense to me as a business decision that the Glazers look at Man United as a very, very extremely profitable venture, right? 302 million pounds of commercial revenue, 221 million of broadcasting revenue, 137 million of match day revenue. That's the smallest basically source of revenue is from the match day. They make most of their money from the ads and broadcasting, right? So we're talking about, in terms of turnover, like a $600 million basically a year entity. It's a massive business, right? It's a massive business, and it's always going to be treated that way, which is why it's not like I'm pro Ineos or anything like that. I just understand from a business perspective why it's a smart investment for the Glazers to stay on, and also why they would sell to somebody who's offering them 1.6 billion for 20%, as opposed to somebody who's offering 5 billion for the full 100% ticket, because Ineos is offering them a way to increase the valuation of their entity, basically, while also keeping them around to benefit from any upside that comes in the future. So Amazon, streaming, all that potential stuff. Now, I totally, I'm with everyone who says we need to get back to football. Football is the most important thing. There's no trust between us, the fans, and the ownership. So we need to see them actually prove themselves before we back and support them. 100% with you guys on that, right? I don't see the conspiracy necessarily. I see people making business decisions, right, that are well within the normal range of decision making.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to Sean, Manchester United have not paid down 200 million in down interest payments for the debts that the Glazers have got into the football club. According to Sean. But
Let me see if I can turn my camera around.
Kieran Maguire but Kieran Maguire is wrong. So the number one financial football expert in the country is wrong. No, you don't have to show anything to me, Sean. Manchester United. Remember, Jarvis, remember me doing a show? Remember me getting the figures from Kieran Maguire and the Swiss Rumble? Do you remember me when we were breaking it down on here? And I was saying that this is how much that debt they're in. This is how, remember, before the takeover, was saying this is how much debt they're in. This is how much they own the banks, and that they maxed out the credit cards. Remember me saying that? Remember me doing a show on that? But apparently, all of that is for nothing, and Sean knows exactly where that money is going. Manchester United have been running on a deficit, and we paid, and I repeat for the people at the back, Manchester United the Glazers got Manchester United into debt 20 years ago, 2005, 20 years ago, and they didn't spend a penny. Well, they spent actually 200 million. They bought Manchester United for 750 million. Their dad spent 250 million of his own money, borrowed 500 something odd million from the banks, Manchester United have been in that debt for the 20 years. Manchester United in that have not paid down the debt. They paid the debt interest for how much? For almost £1 billion. Then we've had other debts that they've took because of COVID. You know what the COVID? Most clubs made a loss, by the way, during COVID. So it's nothing new to Manchester United. It's nothing new to Manchester United. For those who want to make excuses for the Glazers, and what they have done, then they borrow more money. They borrow more money for themselves, and they borrow more money to pay down more interests. So £300 million they owed in outstanding transfers, right? I'm sorry to say, but anybody coming into, when you want to come and partake in a business, all of the finances get shown to you. What the club, what the decline, what the problem has been. Ineos are nothing better than any of those hedge funds coming in, cutting fucking costs. And for me, nobody can tell me one football club that has stayed successful in the Premier League era since the rise of the oligarchs, the Ibrahimovics and the Man City owners, states owning football clubs, where without putting money in, you didn't see the football on the position in the league and the trophies being equated with it. You ain't doing that. That is not happening anytime soon. But I want to move on to the next topic because we've killed this to that extent. But basically, Ineos are getting sued, people. They're getting sued. They've all their business ventures, because all of them, they wanted to be involved in sport. They were involved in what they call something cup. It's the boat racing cup. Something cup is called. I always forget the name of the cup. But it's basically where they have this annual boat races throughout the period of the year. And they have all these different countries competing. They pulled out of that. And then Ineos had a sponsorship with New Zealand All Blacks, the rugby team. I repeat, Ineos had a sponsorship deal with New Zealand, and I want to show you. I want to go big up to Khalif from Lassie. He sent me the articles. Big up to him. He sent me the things that I need to have a look. So let me just get up Khalif. He's always on top of it. So there we go. So I can.
It's America's Cup, by the way. America's Cup.
Yeah, America's Cup. It's a boat racing thing.
Yeah, sailing.
Yeah. Let me just share this with you. There you go. There we go. What was branded as a unique new 6-year partnership with New Zealand Rugby, which has included all 7 of its national teams, was announced in July 2021 due to the run across 6 years from 2022 until 2027. It was understood to be worth $3.5 million a year to New Zealand Rugby, with Ineos promising to fuse the expertise in Formula One, cycling and sailing as football as part of his unique sport performance group. Oh, God. So Ineos pay $3.5 million a year and they're defaulting on their financial agreement. That's what they've been taken to court. So there's a failure. Jim the Rat is supposed to be the guy who's supposed to bring about certain things, but he's a failure. Another thing to the Glazers is the fact that this has happened. Glazer family snubbed. It was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, was Dennis Law. Rest in peace, Dennis Law. Love and condolence to his friends and family, a legend of the football club. So let's just go through them all, people. Yeah. I'll come to the one on top there. But that's why I wanted to just let you know. And then obviously we saw this. This is the one that I already told you about. Finch and Mooney downgrade Ineos' financial outlook as negative. So Ineos are in the shit.
We shouldn't trust them. Don't trust these Ineos guys. Until they show some work.
Breaking news, Sean. I've never trusted the fucking bastard. Never. I told everybody never to fucking trust them. So there we go.
No, I with you on that, right? What I just don't want us to do is fall victim to fake news because we are predisposed to believe something, right? So I'm looking at the comments
Harry
here
Maguire's not
with
fake
people
news.
who.
Harry Maguire's not fake news. I'm sorry. It's not fake news.
Anybody who tells you that United paid $300 million of interest payments in 3 years is lying, because it's publicly available
No, it's not.
information.
No,
You can
it's
check
not.
it yourself.
Because we don't know how much they
Okay.
borrowed. Do you think they're gonna tell you? Do you think
It's in the
they publish, they're gonna
financials.
tell you? They're gonna
Yes,
tell you that.
yes, it's going to tell you,
No,
because
they're not.
they're a
They're
publicly
not.
traded company. Yes, they're going
No,
to tell
they're
you.
not. Jarvis, listen, let me say something to you now, people. There are things that they have to disclose to the New York Stock Exchange, and they have to disclose to people and what's happening. Let me just see Jarvis. Sorry. I hope Jarvis is all right. Hopefully he'll be back. Maybe he's had a computer glitch. I just want to say to you, there are certain things that they can disclose until it's too late. They don't have to publicly actually show who they're paying, what they're paying. They can tell you what's the business losing. Those figures can be available. But they're never going to point the figure at themselves and go, well, we borrowed this money, and then we used the 30 million or 40 million pounds that it took for the lawyers to do this deal. We put it back into the fucking football club. Other than
They have to.
Let me finish, Sean. Let me finish. I don't want to shout. Other than telling you, actually, other than us who are getting £1 billion something for 28% or 29% shares, that's what we're going to do. We're going to absolve that because we just got £1 billion and something for those shares. They're putting it back into the football club. I'm sorry. Bumbaye, I just want to let you in. Go ahead, Bumbaye. Big up.
Big up,
Go
Bombay.
around. How you doing, Bumbaye? How you feeling?
LG Dave's taking him.
Bumbaye!
Just to clarify, right? And again, like it's kind of unfortunate, but this stuff is all publicly available. There is no conspiracy at work here, right? For publicly traded companies who make filings with the stock exchange, you have to disclose everything, not only at the company operational level. You have to disclose shareholder information too. So every single cent, every dollar is traceable, basically, which is why it's a crime. It's a crime punishable both to varying degrees. It's a crime to make incorrect and improper filings with the SEC or to lie in those filings. Now, I understand that, like, as far as many people are concerned, the Glazers and Ineos are one basically step away from the devil, not to talk of liars, right? So it's possible in many people's mind that they're just lying and telling you this thing. But I'm saying, regardless of whatever you're being told by any of these people on the internet, you yourself as an individual, armed with all you need is a calculator and an ability to understand English, and you can go to the website and download the company's financial statements for yourself. You can see exactly how much debt was taken, what year it was taking, how much was paid back, how much of the payback was interest, how much was principal, at what time of the year. You can see all of that, the pricing you can see all the information. So there's no need for us to be arguing over what is true or not,
Okay, Sean.
right?
Okay,
when it's available.
Sean.
Yeah.
Sean, you know so much. Can you tell me how much they paid down in debt in the last 3 years, please? That they pay down the interests to these debts. They don't pay the debt; they pay the interest. How much money they paid in the last 3 years, please? Tell us.
Not only can I tell you that, right? So I can put on a quick class on how to read financial statements, essentially. So you want to look at the company's cash flows. Basically, you look at the cash flows in their whatever filing. So it starts from the cash generated from operations. That's how much whatever operating profit that they make. Then you deduct interest paid. So in 2024, interest paid only was 37.2 million pounds. It's how much United paid in 2024 interest. How much we borrowed, right? So they call that proceeds from borrowing. We borrowed 160 million basically in 2024. In 2023, we borrowed 100 million. I understand that United has a line of credits that you can draw and repay. However, we repaid repayment of borrowings. We repaid 230 million pounds worth of debt was repaid in 2024. Do you know what kept the club afloat in 2024? Because you're correct, we've been running on a deficit for a long time. What kept us positive this year, huge chunk of it was the fact that something called proceeds from issue of shares, which is the sales basically that the Glazers made. 158 million of that money is reported in the financial statement as cash that went straight to the club. So if you read further in the financials, you will see how much of that cash went to Abraham Glazer, how much of it went to each single shareholder in the company, and how much of it went to the club itself. So again, publicly available information. In 2022, we repaid. We didn't repay anything of our debts. We didn't repay anything. In 2023, we repaid 100 million. In 2024, we repaid 230 million. But we also borrowed in those years too.
And that's what
repaid what?
Talking about. And by the way, Craig Warby
repaid what? Interest rates?
No, debts. We repaid debts.
Did we repay the debt, or did we
Yes.
pay interest rates?
We paid both. So interest we paid in 2024.
So we didn't pay 100 million in debt. We paid interest rates and debt.
No, we did, Jarvis. Separate things. In 2024, interest only, we paid 37.2 million. Interest only, we paid 37.2. In 2023, we paid 31.9. Interest only. Principal, that's the principal on the debts. In 2023, we repaid 100 million. Like we borrowed 100 million in 2023, we repaid 100 million in 2023.
But that's short-term debt, like credit.
Yeah,
debt.
that's the debt that the
long-term
Glazers
debt.
borrowed. That's the Glazers the club took out on the club drivers. That's the money. That's nothing to do with the 500 million pounds in debt that we've been for the past 20 years. This is
so
debt, people.
Maybe we can have a specific dedicated session, Jarvis, and whoever is interested, where we can go through the United financials and we can dig deep and see of the debt that was repaid, how much of it was the long-term, what they call term debts, so the long-term 7 or 10-year debts, and how much of it was the line of credit. So a line of credit means a recurring, like a credit card, basically. You can withdraw from it and pay back within a year. So that's probably, some of that is what they repaid. But in 2024, we borrowed 160 million and we repaid 230. So we paid back more than what we borrowed. And what I can tell you from my initial 5-minute glance of this, financials, for example, starting from the fact that we repaid more than we borrowed this year, some of the money that the Glazers raised from this sale, some of it went back into the business, some of it was used to pay down some debt. And if we had the time, we could go through the financials and figure out exactly, where each dollar basically went to. Some of it obviously went to, the Glazers, Avram and the brothers and the likes, right? But yeah, it's all publicly available information, essentially. And if you value your company or your business at 5 billion, and somebody is willing to offer you plus 3 billion on your valuation, which is basically what Ineos was willing to do. Ineos was offering them 1.6 billion for 20%, which makes the full value. It was about 20%.
27, 28%. Now it's 29% that he owns of the football club.
Either way, when you multiply that to get to the 400, it's more than what Qatar was offering for the full business, right? And Ineos keeps the Glazers in business. Basically, they keep them in business.
And that's why we're against them. And big up, by the way, I wanted to say this, and Craig Walby has said it in more eloquent way. He said, Sean, published accounts will always be abbreviated. Just a synopsis. It's never fully done. That happened. Only you and your accountants will know the truth. Even when you're traded.
That's in your private.
Let me finish, Sean. The true things of what's going on in the football club, you are never gonna divulge that openly. It's like any fucking business.
What I'm saying is that
let me finish. You have to give us synopsis.
I do this, right? There are different levels of financials. So you have what they call company prepared. That's the first basic level. Company prepared financials, meaning it's you and your accountants prepare the financials. That's the bare minimum. There's allowed to be mistakes or whatever. At the second level, you now have audited financials, right? So that's more stringent than company prepared. Audited meaning somebody else, third party, usually one of the big four audit firms, audited your financials, right? At a higher level than that is what is called an SEC filing. So that's the filing that you make to the stock exchange. So not only is it audited by one of the big four, there's a public interest aspect to it because your company is publicly traded, right? So you have a fiduciary responsibility.
30% is publicly traded. Let's get this right. 30% of Manchester United is publicly traded. 30%. 31%.
My understanding is that we're a publicly traded company.
Yeah,
like the company is publicly traded.
Of the shares that are owned by somebody else. the rest of Glazers own it. I just want to define it for
Yeah.
some of the fans. So 60-something%, 69% is owned by Jim and the Glazers, right? 31% is the 30-something% that's floated on this, and it's owned by all these different little minions, these people from all over the fucking
Are these
world.
the Class B shares
Yeah, they're the
Right.
class
Speakers, yeah.
without
Yes.
voting rights? Okay.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
voting right. 31% of it is traded.
All I'm saying to respond to
9%
Craig,
of it's not traded, Sean.
all I'm saying in response to Craig is that what we're looking at here are the SEC filings, and it's not abbreviated, right? If somebody sneezes in the board, you have to report it to the SEC. Basically, how many packets of biscuits did you put in your company fridge? How many bags of tea did you
Sean,
buy? All that gets reported.
bro,
Basically.
can you do a favor to everybody? Can you post the link where anybody that's interested can have a look at these? I think it would be good.
Yeah,
For them
definitely.
to see for themselves. Pop it in the chat. Maybe we can also, and pop it in our own private chat. Maybe we can have a look at it. I think
Yeah.
the reconciliation that doesn't exist. What Sean is
Sorry,
saying.
Bombay, I just want to interrupt you
Yeah.
for 1 quick minute on the people can just search it up online. The ticker for Man United is Man U, MANU, and you can just search it up and just search stock exchange, and you will find all the numbers. This is from Yahoo Finances, and here you see all the numbers for each year, and you can also go quarterly and just go through if you want to go in depth. So just a little
We need
Yeah.
to know how to
So
read
so
this.
this is the abbreviated version, right? Correct. So this is
Yes.
Yahoo Finance providing an abbreviated version. You can go to either the United website or the SEC website and
find the
download
full financial report. Yes,
full financial report, basically
but
with
that's
all
like
the
100
footnotes and
pages.
everything.
So yeah.
Exactly. It's this one is 170 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, pop it in the private and whack it in the comments for anybody that's interested. That'll be good. I think for me, just my little 2 cents on this. We touched on this last time actually. From a business point of view, I'm not an expert. I don't work in this. Ironically, I actually get people back into work as a job. This guy's clipping them. But having said that,
Oh.
we as fans are frustrated with the ownership of the Glazers that is being continued into the ownership of Ineos. Our concern and our grievance is that football is secondary to commerce at Manchester United, and it has been so for quite a long time. From a ownership point of view, I understand the Glazers' valuation of the club was exceeded with Jim Ratcliffe coming in with that offer as opposed to Sheikh Jassim. That is a given. If you were to go at 1.4 million for 25% times that, they get over the 5 billion that Sheikh Jassim was offering. That's fine. But all this stuff that we're talking about here and the Glazers, ultimately we are with everything, gross debt, servicing debt, interest rates, all of that stuff, outstanding player money to go. It equates to about a billion according to Chat GPT or whatever you want to use on online. If you just type in current Manchester United debt, it equates to about $1 billion. They're trying to reverse what has been a trajectory into the negative in terms of club debt. Okay, fine. But the problem is, man, we're not just talking now. The club is in a precarious financial situation where these cuts are being made. And the football is dreadful. The football is dreadful. There's no parity between what goes on the pitch and the commercial aspect of the club. That has been the primary focus of people like Ed Woodward. That's well documented, and he did his job. He did his job really well. Now, if the football was half decent, we don't really need to be having this conversation. The club is in a precarious situation that it wasn't in prior to the advent of.
And where did you hear
Glazer
about that,
family.
Mumbai? Where did you hear about that? On this fucking channel. People
Yeah,
were
on this channel.
it.
Yes, yeah,
Saying
you've
the
been saying it
Glazers-
since day one.
The Glazers have run the fucking club, and I'm not no financial expert. I can't read any of this. I know where Manchester United were making a loss every fucking year.
The last
the
thing,
same external kind of companies that were promoting all the different taps. So many pop noodles in the fucking southeast in Singapore. Oh, I know all of that dried up. I knew all of that dried up. And
So
that
two
Ineos,
things, bro. I'll just
Glazers was still taking fucking dividends while all this was going on.
yeah,
Remember that.
two
Remember
things.
that.
I'm just gonna finish quickly. Two things. One is that one thing now. I forgot the other one. Sorry. These guys are supposed to be in charge of footballing operations when they came in, but it seems that they're culling the workforce, and this is overlapping into financial operations. Am I wrong? They came in with rights to footballing operations, bring people in to make us better in the football side, but now they're making decisions on Sir Alex Ferguson, on whoever, or this is really the Glazers. But the last point, yeah, here it is. We had this discussion whether we hate the Glazers because they're just nasty, malicious, or they're incompetent. Because you can, it doesn't really matter which one. We're well within our rights to absolutely abhor this ownership because financially, the club isn't a real problem. £1 billion worth of debt. When they took over, it wasn't in any debt. But the football for the last 12 years is a disgrace. We've not been in the Champions League for half of those years, maybe more. We've mounted 81 points in 12 years, which is our best finish in second place to City, who with 100 points. And we're just a cup team who are currently in, I don't know, 13th, 14th place. And we've spent over £1 billion. So this is incompetence, or you can call it they're just pure evil, man. They're just ripping this club to shreds and gutting it. And then you can talk about the stadium is shafted. You look at the squad and you think, right, where did £2 billion go, man? This squad ain't shit. So this, when all is said and done, every single fan is well within their rights to say, guys, your tenure at this club has been a cancer, and we would like you to just leave. And Dino is right in saying Ineos did come in and save the day. When Jim came in, he gave them over the valuation. And so far, Ineos, the jury for me is out. There has been some bad decisions made, indecisions, let's say. Dan Ashworth is a massive thing and he's not been replaced. He was one of the best. He walked away. That's a big thing. Why did he walk away? And the second thing is with the management. You kept a guy on. You tried to get another guy who said no, went to the England national team job. Then you bring another guy in mid-season who's now in deep shit. Let's see where this actually goes. What happens in the summer and how does that look? Are you going to back him? Are we going to have a transfer window that we can think you're serious about the football inside? Because right now we are in the business of signing players with high potential to develop them, that we can sell them on or they can become productive, valuable members of the team. But we give them very low wages in comparison to ready-made players, which we have always bought the best. We don't buy the best anymore. We don't buy the best anymore. It's a very young team, and we're getting rid of the big rollers. Rashford, Sancho, Casemiro, Ronaldo, all the big high rollers with the big dough, they're going. The staff is being cut down. People's job roles will be now, obviously, the people that do certain work, you've got rid of how many hundreds of staff now? Those jobs have to be amalgamated and taken up by somebody else. Their responsibilities and their job role has to change for you to have a functioning club. All this is a cost-saving exercise. You can say it's in the interest of their, as Sean was putting it, to start to change the trajectory of the debt into a net positive, that we are actually clearing debt and not just paying interest. We're actually making repayments here. But I mean, this whole thing has reached this point because of absolute greed and incompetence. I think it's both. So where it goes, I don't know. But these are just a logical person looking at things from the outside. I'm not a financial expert. I probably wouldn't. I might need some help to read an SEC statement. I might. But this is a fan point of view. We are in a desperate situation on and off the pitch.
Well said.
Well said. Good points.
Yeah. Somebody was asking, I said in the comments about the, so what's the plan? How do we take on the debt? I was looking through the financials some more now. Right now, our borrowings in total, $500 million. So 546 million pounds. Basically, 30 million of that is the revolving, the line of credit. And then 334, 176, those are long-term debts basically that we have. And honestly, like there's no way around it, right? The finance costs are high. Interest rates are likely to go up, in a few years again. But the simple truth is that, like, if we're going to be able to pay down, because I'm looking at our how much of our expenses basically are going to wages, and it's ridiculous. Like we're paying almost 400 million.
It was worse. I'm sorry, Sean. I'll have to come in there. Manchester United wages were actually worse. Actually, in the last couple of years, we've brought down the wages dramatically. Manchester United used to be in the top 2 of world football, paying for the wages for the positions that we were finding ourselves in, being in and out of the top 4. So that's what we've been. Big up to Peg Boy, because here we don't just want to hear our own voices. He says, I support the job cuts. People have been beating up the club for far too long. Other clubs are not as overstaffed. Let me just break something to you, pal.
That's fascinating.
Clubs are not as big as fucking Manchester United. They're not as big as Manchester United. So it's a simple answer. So you want to take revel in people losing their working class people losing their jobs, go right ahead. But just know this: other clubs are not as big as Manchester United. I just wanted to bring it. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot. For me, I trust Swiss Ramble. I trust Kieran Maguire. I don't trust FCC, FBC, FDD, FCC, FKK, FYY, FXX. I don't trust any of these. These corporates are not proper regulators. If you know anything about capitalism, you know regulators are bent and hand and twisted and brown envelopes galore. So all of this, for me, I understand that synopsis can be put on. They can just say abbreviation, abbreviating accounts or whatever. But the true thing, what the damage that the Glazers and the Ineos are doing to the football club will never be known unless somebody tells the truth about what they're doing. But the staff who are already there are telling you, we would not have lost our jobs, or our jobs would not be in danger of Ineos's incompetent and mismanagement, gross misconduct, the continuation from Glazer to Ineos, gross mismanagement of the football club. And I still, how much Manchester United have paid all the coaches to fire the coaches. Well, one of them left. One of them got let go. Benny McCarthy got let go. Other coaches got let go. Then they hired in new coaches for Ten Hag. And then they hired tonight. Then they got Anschwith and all the money that's cost to get rid of them. That is the one thing that you have to watch out for. And I'm hoping Kieran Maguire, Swiss Rumble will show us that. But I want to quickly go on to, did any of you see Paul Scholes? Paul Scholes, actually, he comes out with some wild takes. Paul Scholes, and let me just give a little context. I think a lot of the ex-players, they don't understand the football club, what the football club is now. They don't have a clue. They're lashing out just like majority emotional fans like we all are, without them understanding that the club that they played for is not the club that is right now. But basically, the other day they were talking about on the overlap, they were talking about the fan debates. They were talking, and he said he'd rather have Daniel Levy in charge of Manchester United than Ineos. This is Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes got no property whatsoever. And I still can't hear a peep out of Gary Neville's, because Gary Neville has got his eye on real estate around Trafford Park and the surrounding areas of Manchester United. But he came out, so I just wanted to know what you think. Ben, if you want to go ahead, we go to Jarvis, then we go to Sean, and then Bombaye. Go ahead. What do you think of it? Have you seen the clip? And what do you think?
Do you have the clip? Just so.
Yeah, the clip was there. Let me just try to find it. Scholes. And by the way, then he then got into it with Scholes. He then got into it with naming players and coming out for Martinez, saying Manchester United are not going to win a league
Was it a decade or something like that?
Yeah, man. No, Manchester are not going to win a league with the likes of people here.
Do you know if we had an Ineos board meeting and Manchester City joined, do you know what the theme tune to that meeting would be, guys? How long has this been going on? It's been going on, man, since 2005. And we've been just getting shafted and shafted and shafted until this point here where we're just scraping games past Leicester. That's what's going on. Bloody hell, man. Would you rather have Daniel Levy, guys?
Well, here I'm going to play the voice. I'm going to play it. You ready?
Yeah, me neither.
Listen.
If you're playing, I can't hear it.
Let's read the quote now, right?
1 second. There you go. You heard him there.
Didn't hear anything.
No, we didn't hear anything.
We didn't hear nothing.
But what
No.
Is it
what he
changed his
said was
mind?
that that's the quote, right? Even when he's fit, he's not good enough to win
we're
the
not
Premier
talking
League.
about that, Sean. We're not talking about that.
No, Sean is talking about these
talking
guys are
about
so bad. He'd rather have Daniel Levy, Tottenham chairman,
Daniel Levy of Spurs owner.
as
right?
the boss there at United.
So
Who said that? Scholes?
Hmm.
The fuck?
Yes, Paul Scholes has said. I don't know if you can hear this. 1 second. You can't hear it. Paul Scholes on the overlap said he would take Daniel Levy. I can show you the thing, but I can't actually play it. I don't want to get done by Sky. So I'm just going to show you where the person quotes at it, and you know where it is then if you want to go and have a look at it later on. Here we go. I can't play it. But can you see Paul Scholes on the overlap saying he would take Daniel Levy at Manchester United around now and will welcome him. That's what he said, compared to where Ineos are. So that's where it is, Ben. So that you got it. And if you want to go to Jack, that guy there, he can play it and he can listen. That is a Spurs fan. He's a Spurs fan, that fella there. And he's talking about he wants Daniel Levy out, right? And Scholes interrupts him and says, we'll take Daniel Levy right now. And in previous weeks, Paul Scholes has been on saying that how much Ineos have just killed the place and how it's a PR disaster, what they're doing at the football club. But anyway, go ahead, Ben.
By the way, Nora, I just put the link to the Paul Scholes comment in the comment section.
Nice
so
one,
if
John.
you want to just watch the 23 seconds, it's right there.
Yes, I'm gonna have a wee look here, Jarvis. 2 seconds. One of you go ahead, anyways. I'm gonna have a wee listen to this.
Yeah. I can have a say when it comes to just to sum up the Glazer Ineos debate, and for me, I think the most important thing right now is I feel that we are nothing more than I would say a billionaire's toy, and we are a part of their exclusive playground, and football now is slipping further into the reach of us as ordinary fans. We're working class people. Gas prices are up, grocery bills, electricity. People are struggling right now, and yet ticket prices and even TV subscriptions for me as a Man United fan abroad is skyrocketing now. And the game has never had more money now than it has ever had. And in prize money, the clubs are richer than they ever been, and still they keep bleeding us fans dry, even holding us fans as hostage. And sometimes I even question why I even bother following football anymore, because it's just to let the billionaires win. So football was once for the people, by the people. But those days are long gone. So I'm not a big fan of what we are experiences right now, and I feel that we are losing our soul. We are losing Old Trafford. We are losing the season ticket holders, and on my wall it says Glazers out, but it should be Ineos out too. And it's not only them; it's a whole concept of the thing. I think we should protest and try our best to get back to 50+1 rule and let the fans own the club. I see you shaking your head, Sean, but from an idealistical standpoint, I think that will be the dream scenario. because we are getting pushed around by Ineos and glazers and billionaires. It's just using us because
So
we have an emotional attachment to Man United, and they
I
know we
disagree
can't.
with you. I disagree with you on 2 points. The first one
Okay.
being the first one being that ship has sailed. The ship of football not being a commercial venture sailed. It's we pay players too much. There's too much money involved. The game is going to get more and more commercialized, not less.
Do you
So that's
think it's
number
getting
one.
better because of that?
I think I'm very conscious of becoming the old guy that is screaming at the young people saying, I don't get the rap, the new rap, or the new music, or the new sports, right? So I think we're going through some growing pains now in general as a sport, but we're going to arrive at a place where everyone is happy with. I think in the margins, right, there's still lots of stuff to complain about. So VAR, some of the new rules, the new Champions League system, some of that needs to be fine-tuned. But I think that ship has sailed, and I think we can't really say yet the impact it will have on the sport. So that's number one disagreement. The second
Well,
one is
the
on
impact it
the
will have, as you say, I just want to interrupt you once on that because I know where this is heading. You live in America, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
go.
what Ted said, but
Have you ever been to a venue when it comes to America?
That's where it's heading.
It's the fucking foam finger up and down and let's go team and
Yeah,
shooting t-shirts and
and
commercial
ads every
breaks
5 minutes. Yeah.
in intermissions and it will be 100% commercialized. The more and more American owners in the Premier League, and when they get the majority right, this will be the reality, and we will have
But
lost the
but
concept
there
of
is a
football as we know it.
there is a push and pull, right? And if we're still on this point, there's a push and pull because on one hand, I agree with you. On the other hand, every single footballer right now that is being developed as a freak of nature. So they can use both legs, right leg, left leg. Most of them are good in the air. They can run really fast, right? And when they're young and they're really exciting players, you have to spend upwards of 80 million nowadays, basically you have to spend anything between 50 to 80 million pounds to get good quality players to compete. And you have to pay them a lot of money, basically. And so, in order to compete at the level that we need to now, the clubs need to come up with new ways to raise money. That's just the way it's going to be, right? So the clubs are feeling the pressure on one hand because they have to compete, right? And on the other hand, the fans don't want the game to really change much. So there's tension there that I would grant. But the second aspect of where we have an ideological difference is fundamentally, I don't believe or agree that fans know what is best for the club. I just disagree with that. I don't
Okay.
think fans would make good stewards of the clubs. I think fans are better off as fans in the stands, supporting and cheering for their team. I think when you put decision making in the hands of fans, it's likely to be a disaster. So just fleshing out those, teasing out those
Yeah.
disagreements
Okay. Yeah.
Th-
on those
Does
points. Yeah.
does this current ownership, if we are just, let's say, just your average guy, does this ownership tell you that this is good? They're doing good.
No.
They are the businessmen. Are they doing good? We're $1 billion in debt. We don't qualify for Champions League anymore. One of the biggest brands in the world of football, maybe the biggest. One of the richest history in English football. The record holders of most Premier Leagues. The most romantic club in the world. And we are £1 billion in debt. We don't qualify for Champions League. We're currently languishing in the bottom half of the table with a team that's had, £1 billion spent on it. Let's say, let's not say two. Let's just say we recouped $1 billion, and this is the end result. Okay, I'm a fan. I'm not on the board, but is this board doing good? Do I have the right to say, man, what the hell are you guys doing? There was a time where politicians, God forbid they forget to steal, but they used to leave something on the table. This regime is just taking Man United to the cleaners. And the problem that we have is, I could fathom what your pushback is, Sean, let's say, bro. But the footballing aspect, which is the fans are the driving force of this thing. The football revenue that exists in all of its facets, whether it's television, merchandise, day ticket sales. It's all the fans. And if we talk, we're on this show usually talking about expectations. No, we can't let the levels drop. We have expected, man. Surely we have the right to say, okay, I'm not an expert, but you are a pile of shit. What is this that you're doing? And it's not, I'm not giving you a deadline of, a month, 6 months. We're talking since 205. Downward trajectory into hell
No, but
financially.
do you know the problem, Bumaye, that you have, right? The problem that you have is that, like, what leverage do fans have? We can talk with our feet, so don't go to matches, right? And we can talk with our voices on social media, so create enough of a stake basically around the club. I think we do a perfect job of the latter. We do a very, very good job of creating a toxic environment for the club and all the players, basically. I think when Sancho talks about freedom from the club, he's not just talking about the club itself, he's talking about the entire environment. So social media, we got that on lock. As for the fans in the stadium, not only are the gate fees the smallest amount of revenue that the club makes, I think if all the true Reds decide to boycott games, all that would happen is that your tickets will be replaced by tourists and first-time United fans who want to attend the game that day. So our leverage generally is limited to how much of a stink we can make around the club. And my problem with that approach is that it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, it's not productive. Making too much noise, I think, or the kind of noise that we make ends up creating a toxic environment that affects our own players negatively. So yeah.
No, actually, you know what affects, what affects the players? Not being able to compete properly in the top competitions is not the fucking fans, Sean. I reject that. I totally reject that.
Also, I mean,
Newsflash,
if
we
you,
disagree.
The fans' disillusionment is a direct correlation between where the club is and fans' frustration. There's a direct correlation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, newsflash, we disagree.
By the way,
Of course
also,
not.
by the way, we were glazers out when we were winning. If you remember the green and gold campaign, we were glazers out even when we were winning, and we're winning European Cups and we're winning doubles. Remember that?
I'd say you were probably the first person I ever knew with that green and yellow or green and gold. I didn't even know what it was until you explained, and that was about right around the time of the takeover. But not only players, I think when you look at the aftermath of managers, these managers have all got either they're respectful, they don't want to bring the club into disrepute because you can't win either way. But lots of these managers now come out, like David Moyes did a podcast. He said, I was promised Fabregas. I was promised players that were available, not for massive money, but these were the quality players we needed. And in the end, they gave me deadline day Fellaini. Then you have Van Gaal saying, I've come to the biggest club in the world. I'm expecting to compete and win things. Can't do it without the right players. They're getting third and fourth choice players. Mourinho's comment about football heritage is one of the most accurate, best interviews I've ever seen. I know some people don't like it, but where are you coming from? Are you coming from Man City? Pep Guardiola walks into Man City. There's 7 championship winning players that reach the quarterfinal of the Champions League regular. They even reach the semi-finals. They win all the trophies. It's a settled club. He's not doing anything revolutionary. They've won 2 leagues already. They're qualified by default every year to everything. They're winning the League Cup. They're winning the FA Cup. You don't have to build nothing. You have to take a great team, spend £220 million in your second season, revamp the entire team, and then just go. So the managers here, when Mourinho talks about that, where do they play? Where does Memphis Depay play? Where does Fellaini play? Where did Martial end up? Where did Pogba end up? Where did Mkhitaryan end up? Where did Bailly end up? Where did Rojo end up? Where did Darmian go? I mean, Darmian reasonably all right. Where did they all go? Where did Schneiderlin go? Where did Schweinsteiger go? This was your team. This was the team. Where did Jones go? This was the team. Yeah. So they didn't win nothing. They ain't done nothing. All the managers, not only the players are not being given like the teammates to work and to play and whatever, but the managers are being backdoored. You get 81 points and City get 100, and then you just go by Fred, Lee Grant, and Diogo Dalot. That's not a statement of intent from a club like Manchester United that we want to build and catch City. That's bullshit. That's a load of nonsense to me. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So the problem with this club is we forget the financials a second, yeah, but the financials are the primary concern, and football has been a very distant second, and this trend is continuing and continuing and continuing, and this is where the discontent is coming. When is the last time Man United signed a Harry Kane, man?
No, but there was also just a lot of incompetence, right?
That's
like
what I
just
mean. That's
good
what I'm talking
old-fashioned,
about. Yeah,
not good at your job.
And this is what I'm saying. Whether you think it's malice or whether you think it's incompetence is not really relevant here. The leverage buyout of the club put the club in harm's way. That was the beginning of a disaster, and that was where the friction with the fans came. They understood what this was. You're using other people's money that you have to pay back with interest to buy this brand, this club, and you're putting very little into yourself, but you will be able to service the debt and you will take dividend for yourself. But this is to the detriment of the club at the end of the day. They continued to do well because Ferguson was there. As soon as Ferguson left, you saw everything fell apart, and we've not recovered since. He kept them afloat. No value in the market, making, silk out of pigs. That was what it was. He was a great manager. But since then, man, we are well within our rights. Whether the players can't be enjoying the turbulence at Manchester United. Bruno's played under 5-6 managers on his own. That's not conducive to anything. You know what I mean? The Glazers, everything that comes from the ownership, and now with Ineos, is killing the team. We're interested in the team. Make money, line your pockets, take it with you to your grave. But we're a football club, man. We're Man United Football Club.
Hold it there,
But does anyone feel like...
I just want to say 1 second, and I want to bring Ben in because he's not said not much. Space and time continuing. What about the £1 billion in debt that we're in, my friend? What about that? You see, fans like you have no fucking...
half a billion. Not a billion. It's $500 million. We looked at the exact numbers now already.
No, it's a billion. It's a billion, Sean.
It's $500 million.
What was that? What was the name of that? What was that name of that horse?
Something of Gibraltar. Rock of Gibraltar.
Rock of Gibraltar, yes.
Let's do another quick
No,
review.
I don't need to see shit.
You don't want to see it? You don't want to see the actual numbers.
Fucking debt. Listen,
look at it there.
I just want to bring your attention, people. I want to bring your attention to what companies do. And actually, Swiss Rumble does it. So let me just bring my attention to this, people. Let me just bring this to you. Let me bring this attention to you, right? This is Swiss Rumble. He's another footballing expert, finances. He publishes every football club, majority football clubs in the world. So this is what he said. This is according to this, right? The credit agencies downplayed. He's explaining it actually. It's not just Ineos. So he says, I comment on this. It's a big red flag. First of all, it's important to underline that this refers to Ineos Group Holding. What is that? It's the largest subsidiary of Ineos Ltd, accounting for almost half of, I can't say that word,
EBITDA,
but not the ultimate parent company, Ineos Group, which is also Ineos Ltd. What do we know about the ultimate parent of Ineos and its finances? Barely nothing. It does not publish any annual reports. It means it's possible to some extent to track the dividends paid to the parent of the group by a few subsidiaries, but not as much as more than that. It seems to be a very profitable, but it's hard to know how much debt it carries. For all we know, it could go bankrupt tomorrow, or it might have paid many, many billions to Radcliffe, or it might have cash reserves or many billions. In general, this in this industry, A, has a very high turnover, B, has low margins, right? C, has high degree of leverage, right? C is volatile. Hence, once it works well, it very fast becomes pure money printing machine. But if the margins become negative, it could go downhill very fast. I just want to underline that we do not know anything about the financial status of Ineos. At the time of Ratcliffe's takeover, it was stated that he had 5 billion in the cash or equivalent, like shares of big listed companies that could be sold. This indicates that he was loaded. So fucking lie, you fucking.
No, but that's Ineos Group Petrochemicals, right? Nothing to do with Manchester United Football Club. At least we're talking about how much the club is
Sean,
doing.
is there no association if you have a parent company?
What are you talking about?
No, yes. So there are a couple of ways to think about that, right? The United as an entity, it depends on who's borrowing the money. So this debt originally was borrowed by the Glazers and put on United's balance sheet effectively. So that's what I just showed, right?
Yeah.
That as of 2024, our debt is not $1 billion, it's 546 million.
No. Half a billion. You see Raymond put it in here.
Yeah, half a billion. Right.
Plus 300 plus money owned on transfers. So this is what we are owing.
300 million
Yeah.
owed transfers. Oh my god.
The technical term of debt. Okay.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
But we still owe over $1 million in
$1 million.
Billion. I think is what you're getting at.
Billion.
Right. So, but like again, if you want, now we can dig through the balance sheet and look at current versus the long-term liabilities. How much of those remaining player contracts are due in the next fiscal year versus how much are due over the lifetime of the player's contract, right? Because that then now determines. If you say I owe $1 billion, but I owe $1 billion 20 years from now, that's different from if I owe $1 billion, next year. But
amortization.
Yeah, exactly. It matters the context. And again, I'm not saying like we should not have all these like negative sentiment, but I'm saying that there are people who are willing and able to prey on our negative feelings of the Glazers to just put out fake and misinformation.
It's a difference between a credit card debt and the mortgage on your house. It's true, and everybody knows that. But
right.
In all, it all comes from the same thing. You
Hey, man, we're about to do a massive extension soon, guys. New stadium coming.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to raise some more. We're gonna need to raise some more debt. It's a good thing.
3 billion is the cost of a new stadium.
I understand that it's going to be a triple P partnership with Manchester, so it would be the government.
We're going to pay for it.
Yeah. So the Manchester citizens are going to pay. The government will pay some part of that. Again, I don't think that's a bad idea, right?
Ben, are you going to give some donations from Ireland, or are you just going to let me pay for it? What the hell? Sean, you too, man. Dig deep.
No,
Jarvis,
you know what? You know what I would do if I could. I would buy property in Manchester before the stadium gets built, because everyone who owns land around that stadium is about to see their property values go up ridiculously once the stadium gets built. So if you're angry, channel all that anger into donations and buy yourself a piece of land.
I'm getting news for you guys. Taxpayers' money will not be paying for Manchester United Stadium. It might pay for the transfer, the transport stuff, all of the surrounding area, but it will not be putting a penny of the taxpayers' money, or there'll be fucking riots in the streets in England. It's not happening. Okay. So dream on.
How are they going to fund this, bro?
Sean, I do know a little bit about the US. They threaten owners, billionaires over there, threaten to go, we're going to move the sports team from this city. And so then the local government goes, oh shit, please don't move. We'll build the stadium. Don't happen here, mate.
It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen because you know what they're going to tell the mayor of Manchester, whoever. They're going to tell you that within a few years, I'm bringing 500 working class jobs to your city, right? Because every single contractor that is going to build every single door panel, every single piece of tile that goes on that roof,
sell it, bro.
You want it to be somebody locally that will create job, right? So like there are ways to structure these things to make everybody kind of happy, to the extent that everybody can be made happy. There are ways to do it.
John. I promise you it's not happening. I promise you. It's not happening. You might be right at the surrounding area. Yes. They're going to say it's going to bring 6 billion to the economy, whatever. All of this is going to bring this yearly and all of that. All the bars, the restaurants, the accommodation, all of that. The infrastructure in terms of the, linking up that side of Manchester, with
Yeah,
like maybe a
No.
tram or
aren't those good things?
kind of like different kind of facilities in terms of the transport to the city centre straight away. All of that, they're going to sort out all of the kind of match day traffic, all of that. I understand. Listen, they can say all of that, and that's going to make that amount of money. It's going to create so many jobs. I understand all that. I got it. We already got that.
Noradin, it depends if United still is a competitive club. You know, I train my son's soccer team, football team, and
Exactly.
they're all wearing Manchester City jerseys with
100%.
Holland on their back. So the
100%.
next generation
I mean,
won't
Sean,
come to Manchester.
Sean looks
to
like
watch
he's
Manchester
taking
United.
delight in this,
They will
and not
come
some
to
of
watch
you are
Manchester
joking.
City.
He's sat here laughing and joking, like at the we were talking about the demise of this football club. But Sean, we will see. We will
No,
see.
but that legacy part is to me is the biggest concern, and I'm with you 100% on that. That it's concerning to me that the new generation of football fans that are watching football now, they're supporting Lamine Yamal, they're supporting Kylian Mbappe, they're supporting Man City. Like no one is looking at United. Like it's painful, right? And I think hopefully we can find a way to fix any of those issues. But my advice, if you live in Manchester and a new stadium is being built, go and get yourself a contractor's license or something. Like if the expense doesn't trickle down to you, basically, I think you're wasting your time. Because if you're upset at the Glazers, make sure you get some of that money into your pocket. Would be my advice to anyone.
We're getting Israeled. That's what we're getting, boys. Israeled. That's the word.
Yeah. Anyway,
You're
people.
not wrong.
I just want to go finish with the last comment quickly, and just say the last topic. Apparently, certain players are not happy, and they're breathing to the press saying that they're not happy with the style of play. I'll go to Ben first. Go ahead, Ben.
Kind of predicted this. I mean, we all predicted it. Like these players were never going to be happy, whichever manager we were going to get in. Like if it was a Tuchel or if it was a De Zerbi. Like at the end of the day, these players just want to, stick to the 4-2-3-1 that they've always played in the past. Since Mourinho? Yeah, since Mourinho, because Mourinho played a three at the back. So at the end of the day, this is no new news to me. Like at the end of the day, I predicted this shit was going to happen once Ten Hag was going to get sacked, and the same things are going to be happening with Amorim. And at the end of the day, Amorim should just stick to his principles, never ever change that 3-4-3, and just stick to his tactics and everything. Just die by them, just like what Ange's doing at Spurs. And at the end of the day, although Ten Hag screwed us over big time with obviously his £600 million of investment into the squad. But at the end of the day, it's more so it's not that the fact that the players he's brought in are considered awful, it's the profile. Like they just don't suit the Premier League. Like whereas Amorim has actually specifically said in his press conferences, he's more concerned about the profile, but it's the physicality as well, and that's what I've really, really liked from Amorim when he's came in. Is he's and we've seen with Dorgu, like I couldn't believe, with Dorgu's first game, I couldn't believe how physical he was. Like he's a beast. He's an absolute beast, and it was a really good debut as well. Obviously, I would have preferred him to play on the left, but at the end of the day, these are like promising, hopefully, like touch wood, promising times that he's actually looking. Maybe that's why we didn't go in for Matthias Tell, because I watched a wee bit of him in Bayern Munich. He's not really. He has like a wee bit like a Rashford profile, and I've seen a wee bit of him. He's not really strong at all. He plays in that left forward, sometimes in the 9, for Bayern, but he's just not as strong as what probably for the Premier League. So that's probably what he's looking into. Like he's not only looking for like, can you suit my system and all that stuff. Can you physically play in this league? And he's talked about it a lot in his first press conference as well. He kept saying we're going to be working on a lot on the gym side of things, building up and all that stuff. He's trying to actually make his players more physical, like as time goes on. But we obviously know all the players that obviously aren't good enough. But I do think that's one of the main reasons why we didn't go for Matthias Tell. I don't think it was anything to do with price and all that shit. Even though they say that we're PSR and all that bullshit. But I just think, with this situation with the players, I think, we shouldn't be shocked about this. We knew this was going to happen regardless. And at the end of the day, I've said it so many times. I'm backing this manager, and he needs to die by his own principles. And at the end of the day, I want us to be out of these two cups, the Europa League and the FA Cup, and just get as much time on the training ground as possible, and just get rid of these fucking shit players, including one of Bombay's favorite players.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Ben. You just fucked up the show, my friend.
But nah, honestly, it's gonna be a big summer for not only for Amorim, but just for Ineos. And at the end of the day, if he doesn't get backed at all in the summer, then honestly, we need to be outside that fucking stadium. We need to be outside fucking Carrington, and Seud as well. If Seud's watching this, Seud, we're going to be outside the Ineos headquarters. We're going to be outside Ineos headquarters.
Seud's gonna be inside.
Yep, we're going to be outside. Yep, we're going to be outside. We're going to be outside. But nah, honestly, seriously though,
Rancid's inside. Rancid's inside, mate.
Oh dear.
Well, at the end of
inside.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when it comes to Sir Jim, too much talk, too much fucking marathons, too much doing this shit and that. Just enough of the talk. Actions speak louder than words. Get to work, honestly. Fuck's sake, he's torturing us, and obviously we can't forget about the Glazers. But at the end of the day, this is what I question about this fan base as well. Even when Ineos came in, we've just stopped doing protests. We should all every weekend there should be a fucking protest outside that.
No, it's not
stadium
gonna be.
regardless.
It's not gonna be. It's Jim. Jim's one of the local lads.
Yep.
He's put Manchester back in Manchester United, so it's not gonna happen.
Yep.
That's what happens if this was a foreign owner. If this was an American investor things, hedge fund, people would be outside, but because he's Jim. And he's got all these the cronies in the press, his sonographers in the press. You know how the British media works. I don't have to tell you that, Ben. You know how it works.
Oh, I know. It's the exact same over here. It's the exact same over here.
Yeah.
The exact same over here, especially up in the north. It's the exact same.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. But go ahead, Jarvis.
Yeah, I just want to say when it comes to the players not happy with the formation, I heard this before, and who do they think they are? Entitled. I don't know what to say, because if I was Amorim and I heard some of my players weren't happy with the formation, I would tell them, sorry for the profanity, I would tell them to fuck off, because they have nothing in this club to do, because I'm sick of this entitlement and player power. Listen to the coach. He knows what he's doing. Follow the process, trust the process of Amorim, and let's keep going, And if they're not happy, they are free to leave and go elsewhere, They can phone their agent and say, I don't want to play the 3-4-3 formation. I want to go somewhere else. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And when it comes to the investments, I heard you say, Ben, you were expecting a big summer transfer window, and Ineos have to do good. We got to remember we have Scrooge McDuck, and he's trying to do his best to keep the costs down, and we are still at that level because it's a long term. It's about turning the financials over to make money, not lose money. So I'm not expecting a big summer transfer window. I don't think Amorim will be backed. I think we will hear a lot of rumors. We will sign him, and we will sign this and that, blah, blah, blah. And we will end up with a couple of signings and a lot of youngsters. And this is what we will get. And it will take time. Amorim just have to work with what he's got. And talking about the first choice, second choice, third choice, forget about it. It will be seventh or eighth choice. And we will negotiate through all summer long. And they will come in late as usual. We know this. We know how it works. It's just it's nothing new. So don't get your expectations up. Keep it realistic, and we know who we are dealing with. So I'm not seeing us signing a Harry Kane or a I don't know who's the hottest name on the plate right now, but there will be some
a medium out.
Yeah. Forget about it. But yeah, probably there will be come a youngster in like Drogu coming in and others, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I'm done with signing big name players anyway.
It make the environment better
They
as
just
well.
come here for the last paycheck, so
Yeah.
it's
Now,
not
like I
for
said,
me.
I agree. I agree as well. To be fair, because if they could bring in like 4 or 5 upcoming talents, and you can even include Obi Martin in this as well. He's
Yes.
obviously I've heard he just scored a hat trick today as well, which is phenomenal. But at the end of the day, like I'm all for that too. But I'm more concerned about obviously the outgoings more than anything. But I still would love to see like 4 or 5 incomings now, whether that's just youth, 18 or 19-year-olds, like that's brilliant. Like I was buzzing once Lenny Euro got signed, because
Yeah.
not only the fact that Madrid were in it, but he came from frankly probably one of the most physical leagues in the world, the French league, and as well as that, like he's young, at the end of the day he's
I
got
tell you, Lenny
That
Euro.
is
For me, I
the
think
game
he's the
against Leicester.
next Maldini. He reminds me of Maldini when he was
Maldini,
young.
exactly,
You know, he's right-footed, plays on the left. We will see him play on the left now when Martinez is out, and I think he will do really well. I'm
Phil
just waiting.
Jones,
I'm not going to
Phil
hype
Jones
him up.
flashbacks.
I just want to tell you guys, his second half performance was the best of his career so far, Manchester United against Leicester. The way he kept the presser on and the way he kept going for any of the loose balls, giving the ball to Garnacho, pressing them, squeezing the play on that side was fantastic, by the way. So I was just saying that's his
I don't
best
know about you guys, but
performance.
I'm a little concerned about Amorim. Maybe more than a little concerned. I'm concerned for
I
him.
am concerned, but I'm giving him the grace for him to coach his socks off now. That's what I'm giving him because he's not at the time, and he would have had 9 days now in between the 2 games. And by the way, do you guys remember they said that they were training? After the Leicester game, they had a full training.
Oh yeah, seen that. Yeah,
They stay behind the train. What I'm saying when it comes to this particular sentiment, this particular question of whether or not he needs to change or adjust in any way, shape, or form to accommodate the players that he has, that's where my concern is coming from entirely. I don't think it's possible for Amorim to sign a whole new set of 11 players next season. I don't think that's possible, right? I think we run the risk of tailoring 2 or 3 summer windows to suit a manager that plays a specific style of play. Remember, guys, we complained under Ten Hag that we didn't want to spend money signing players just to suit a particular manager's style of play. That as a club, we should have a point of view and sign players more holistically, essentially. So I'm a little concerned about the approach that says in order for Amorim to succeed, you have to sign exactly the type of player that he wants. Because if it doesn't work out, then we're stuck with a squad like we have right now that isn't suited to the next group of players. So I think Amorim doesn't owe anyone any explanation. And the only way to justify a decision that he makes is by winning. So whatever he needs to do, he should do. But I'm concerned about his ability to carry the rest of the team along with him. I was listening to the Mandem chat and this whole conversation about whether or not this is Amorim's first season or if his first season starts next year. I think depending on how you feel about that question, right, would inform your answer to this other conversation that we're having. And for me, this is his first season, right? And so along that lines, I think he should be more willing or more open to hearing his players out because the system that he's playing is taking away from the strengths of some of our best players, right? We are having to shoehorn Kobe Mainu, Garnacho, Xerxes, Bruno, Ugarte. Our best attacking players and midfield players are having to either surrender some of their strongest attributes in order to be able to survive in Amorim's system. So I think there is some room for the manager to listen to his players and to figure out a way to stay true to his idea of playing football. So I'm not saying change to a back 4, right? He himself has said back 4, back 3, it doesn't really matter. But he needs to find a way to get more out of the squad that he has. And I think some of that involves listening to the players and hearing them out about where they think they are strongest, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, where and how they think they can thrive,
So
under his system
accommodating
and
the
whatnot.
players again.
Yes,
Trust the
and
players.
not trust them. No, but because the alternative to that, right, Jarvis, is this approach that I think Amorim is taking, wherein he is separating himself from the players that he has. So he thinks that there is room for him, the manager, to describe the team as the worst team in United history, and still
Yeah, but
expect
do you
them
think
to.
Serbia would have done that? For example, if he came in.
I don't think any other manager would have said or described the team the way Amorim did. I think Amorim clearly made a mistake in expressing himself the way he did, which is why he spent the next 2 weeks or so
Zerbi would have said the same.
apologizing.
Sean,
And
you,
Zerbi
you,
tried to
said the
don't
same.
know, you do not know the Zerbi.
Zerbi would have said the same. Zerbi would have said the same.
Do you think anyone was outraged because he said that what he said about the squad?
No,
Us as
that's
fans,
my.
we know it.
No.
Tell
So
me the truth.
here is what I'm saying. I'm saying that truth, I think, is tantalizing for the type of fan who wants to hear that, who wants to hear the manager validate all your priors about the Glazers being bad. So Amorim is telling you that, and it's good. But I think he recognized that it was a bad thing to say, which is why he spent the next 2.5 weeks cleaning it up. Because I don't see how, as a manager, you can talk about your players that way and then expect them to perform for you. Like the amount of cognitive dissonance that will be required, right, to turn up and work hard for a manager who clearly doesn't believe in you. How is that supposed to work? Right? So managers are supposed to be good liars. They're supposed to be good liars, good politicians, and good managers, right? So they need to find a way, basically, to communicate what they are trying to achieve without saying it the way they say
Sean,
it. It's a difficult job.
Sean, today's players are too fragile. You know, if a manager told me that I'm not good enough, I would sure as hell do my best to prove him wrong. I wouldn't crumble down and
that's you. That's you, Jarvis,
and I
right?
think that's the mindset. If you want to be a Man United player, you have to have that type of mindset. You have
Not
to
necessarily. Not necessarily. And I'll tell you why. Because
Okay.
I think it shouldn't be controversial to say that different people respond differently to different type of motivation styles. So some people, right, like to be told you're the worst ever. That's the motivation that they need. Some others need to have a hand around their shoulder, right, saying, I know you can do better than this, right? So it's and the job of a good manager, right? The job of any good manager, I think, is to find out what player responds best to what style of motivation, right? So maybe I need to play you off your competitor in the squad. I need to play you off your counterparts in the dressing room. That's how I get the best of you. I need to insult your father and your mother, and that's what motivates you, right? I need to talk to you gently. That's what a good manager is able to identify and do. I don't think there's a one size fits all approach, basically. And I definitely don't think it makes sense in any way, shape, or form, from my perspective, to talk that way about your players. I think the motivation, right, that confidence, again, like as a theory of the case of football, the most important thing I think you bring to the pitch every day is your mental state. Your actual technical ability is only like 40% of the outcome. The main thing is your mental state. How are you feeling? What's going on in your mind? How confident are you as a footballer? And what Amorim did, I think, killed the confidence basically of his players. And again, like I said, he spent 2 weeks or so apologizing and explaining himself, and basically suggesting that it's this passionate side of him as a Portuguese guy, and he's very passionate, right? That's why he said some of the things that he said. So like I think it was a mistake. I think it was in the fit of the moment. He said something he shouldn't have said, and he affected the players in a negative way. So he I think has to find a way. And I don't mean, when I say accommodate the players, right, Jarvis, because I think it's a dirty word. I don't mean change your system to suit the players. I don't mean give up your principles to suit the players. I mean, listen to Diogo Dalot. If he tells you, hey, Mr. Coach or Coach Amorim, I don't really like playing on the left side. As you can see, it brings out my weaknesses. So please, can you play me on the right wing back position? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? So if Kobe comes to Coach Amorim and says, hey, Coach, I really appreciate the faith you showed me by playing me as the striker, right? But I think I work best in slightly deeper in midfield, closer to the halfway line. listen to Kobe. Then in that regard, play the best players in their best positions, or play them in a way that gets their strengths out of them. Stop playing Mazraoui in right wing back, expecting him to bomb down the flanks, right? So if Mazraoui comes and says, "Hey, Coach Amorim, I would rather play right center back because that's where I'm strongest." That kind of thing, I think, is what I'm getting at. That listen to the players and play them in a way that brings out the best in them.
So Sean, just quickly, was it a mistake with for example, Chelsea with Maresca calling out Sterling, Chalobah, and Ben Chilwell for not being good enough? Was it a mistake what he made as well? Yeah, look where Chelsea are now,
No,
and that was at the start
no.
of the season as well.
So a couple of things I'll say in response to that, right, Ben? Why Maresca was able to get away with what he said was that Chelsea also took the extra step of getting rid of those players for Maresca. So if Maresca had said what he said, and those players were still in the dressing room, it would have been a problem.
But they were Sean. The Ben Chilwell and Chalobah were still there. They got rid of Sterling.
But eventually, I don't think Ben Chilwell is still in Chelsea squad now.
No. He left. He left, but he was at the start of the season. He was still there with Chalobah. So Chalobah and Chilwell were still there in the squad, but it was just Sterling gone.
Yeah, so that's the first part, right? I think over time they got rid of all those players, and I think the second thing is, as far as I'm concerned, the jury is out on Maresca. So I wouldn't point to anything he has done as proof of good management or as proof of the case. Because as far as I'm concerned, Chelsea is going through what Ten Hag went through in his first season. You can't impress me by coming fourth or third in your first season with a 1.5 billion pound squad. No one else will be able to get away with the mediocrity that Chelsea is, I think, pulling off right now. It's player FC to the max.
Okay, I just want to
That's
say
what they've done so far.
I just want to say this to wrap up. If what he factually, which is correct, this is the most worst Manchester United team in Premier League history, right? He said what he said was fact. And he was also talking about himself and the coaching staff as well, by the way. He wasn't just talking about the players. And if you look at the quote is talking about him and the coaching staff and everybody, right?
Yeah.
If the players are angry about that and they're butthurt, then we're in more trouble than we think, guys. I swear to God, if that's what they're focusing on, other than trying to learn. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not making mistakes. For me, I don't believe, like you sit here, I want Amorim to do well. I wanted every manager that came to Manchester United, every coach that comes to Manchester United to do well and to take us back and make us more competitive and to play good football. But he's making fundamental mistakes in the shape and the structure of the team and the way he sets up the team. Now, that's where majority criticism can go at. And I'm not hammering out because I understand the shit show he's come into. A toxic football club with toxic, lying bastard owners, new owners, and the worst owners in football history. Glazers will go down in history as the worst owners in football history because they ruined the club forward and was so far ahead of everybody in terms of the time of the rise of the Premier League and the rise of Manchester United winning. That we were so far ahead, and they've ruined that football club, ruined it onto the ground. And they were ruining it, and Fergie got paid, silenced, and I blame Fergie. I'm not one of these fans that, no, Fergie did some great things, but he also helped destroy this football club because he covered up for the Glazers, because they left him alone to be in charge, right? Then he leaves with his CEO, and then we're in trouble. The bankers come, and the rest is history. But if Manchester United players are so butthurt and so sensitive when a coach speaks the truth, and he's actually also indicting himself and his coaching staff to say we're the worst, then I'm sorry. We are in a lot more worse trouble than we think. I don't give a damn. These leaks for me are just crazy if they're true. Sometimes things are true as well. Sometimes the players' agents talk to some press. That's how it all works. It's a dirty business, football, really. Toxic, very much skullduggery, backstabbing. But he needs to coach. And he needs to figure out until now, till the end of the season, which players that he's going to keep, stay around here, and which players that he can't trust. But he has to also look in the mirror and fundamentally understand that he can't make basic structural problems and play with 2 wing backs who are defensive and expect Manchester United to create shit, because we just end up playing back 5 where players are not even going up and down the pitch, and they are offering fuck all in terms of the creativity. So, Dogu, you bought him as a left wing back, play him as a left wing back. Don't complicate it. But that's what I expect from Amorim. I don't expect him anything else other than that. I think he's joined a fucked up football club. I genuinely feel bad for him and I feel sorry for him. And I think in January, the way they've treated him was shocking. And you don't need to get any more statement from Amorim than starting, than the game before the window closes, starting Kobe Mainu for 70 minutes as a striker. He was trying to tell the club he needs players, and it fell on deaf ears. That's what happened. But people, we can be here all day, all night chatting. Big up to Sean. Like I said, we invite here people who don't agree with us, because that's where we learn some stuff. For me, the Glazers are vultures. Ineos are vultures. Ineos have done this with most companies, by the way. And what they do, then they sell. After they do the gutting, they take money, they make money from it, then they sell. That's what they do. If you look at Ineos, I've done a show on this video about Ineos, what they've done, the failure in Nice. And people tell me, this is Manchester United. This is not Nice. Well, where are we now, people? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Manchester United did have a massive team of employment, because Manchester United is a huge football club. And now the operation is going to be run on half the staff that were there. So let's see. And the word on the street, for those who work at the club still, the general mood is down here. Majority of them thinking, I'm next. And that's not a healthy place to work when you thinking you're next, your livelihood, you being able to put food on the table for your children and family and be able to pay your mortgage. That's on the chopping block. But anyway, the club is in trouble. Jim the Rat's telling you we're in trouble. You don't have to believe me. Jim the Rat is saying we could be going out of business, but Sean thinks we're not. So it's all good, people. No problem. That's just a slight.
We are.
You have to respect.
We are 1,000%.
That was a slight, Sean. You don't have to respond to it.
Where's Dodgy Dave, Sean?
1,000,000,000% not going out of business anytime soon. Too much at stake. $600 million in annual revenue. We're
okay. So why is he lying to the fan base then?
No, he's not lying, right? Because as we demonstrated, right, the club is losing money every year. Like, we're losing money every year. And the only kind of companies that can do that are people like Tesla, who get government subsidies, or the very, very large Ubers and tech companies, basically, that, they're able to run with negative losses, making losses basically every year. United at some point need to streamline their operations. Sacking 200 employees.
But Jim the Rat is telling you we could have been out of business. Jim the Rat is telling you here. Jim the Rat is telling you, I have no choice. He said he's well job. And then he goes on to say, it's the measures United 300 over the past year, but it's confident acting it can lead to the club being profitable. Look at that word, profitable and highly competitive. He means profitable for who? For Ineos and Glazers, not for the fucking football club.
For everybody.
Anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, big up to Jarvis, big up to Sean, big up to Ben, big up to Bumbaye. We are where we are, guys. We are where we are.
Yes.
At least Scholes is honest. I think he's a bit deluded. He wants Daniel Levy. Spurs fans want him out, and he wants us to take over Manchester United. Fucking hell. You can't make this shit up. But Ben, I hope you got to see that. Oh,
yes, I seen it there.
Yeah. Let me just ban this person. Big up to everybody in the chat as well. I just want to say congratulations to Tactical Devils for being monetized. But
Congrats,
it's not done yet, people. We're
well
not done. We need to go over there and get Jarvis quickly to 1,000 subscribers.
Come on, people.
The next thing is 1,000 subscribers. So people need to go there and have a look on there, definitely. Big up to all of you. Bowley77 on Twitter, Jarvis Cocker, at Sean Thomas, our financial resident expert. Or some people would say Ineos and Glazers. He part of his job is that's why he's almost like come on these channels to defend the interest of big business, and he's done a fairly good job tonight. So well done to him. Bumbaye, you'll never see him anywhere else other than on Jarvis Corner. Big up to Sean, but at Elmarie39 on Twitter. Go and check his channel out as well if you're into gaming and everything else. Yeah, Glazers out, Ineos out, F the Zionist, F Donald Trump. You want to be down with him and Glazers and Ineos, then F you too. Free Palestine, free Lebanon, free Congo, free Sudan. Big up to that brother in the Super Bowl that basically made sure that the banner was up. So yeah,
that was class, man.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that was amazing. But big up. We've been asking for a manager to try something different, but we're experimenting with tactical different. Yeah, we don't. It doesn't have to play us, but sometimes you have to work with what you've got. Certain managers, but please smash a like on the video. I've not begged you tonight because I just think you're getting the type of free content. And you guys, I'm not asking you to become a member. I'm not asking you to. I'm just asking you to like and subscribe to the channel. Channel is still shadow banned, so you can help us beat the algorithm by liking and subscribing to the channel.
Yes.
Guys, in terms of the finances, who do you agree with? Swiss Rumble, Kieran Maguire, or our resident Sean? That's Sean Thomas. We're going to put him out on there as well. No problem, people. No problem. Big up to the and fuck the GCSEs while we're there as well. But big up to the.
Don't fuck the GCSEs. Stay in school so that you can read financial statements, right? And you don't have to believe somebody when they tell you.
Yeah, no, study hard. Study hard. They don't make you everything you are, but study hard.
No, listen, you can do other things. You don't have to. You can do other qualifications, but the GCSEs.
Do you know, I've been coming here every week thinking, no, we can't keep saying that. We've got to tell them study, revise, pass them exams, man.
No exam results will ever make you as a human.
I'm not saying that, but sort it out.
But it's good. It helps. It's good. It helps you in your professional career to have good GCSE scores.
We could use you. Maybe you get on the inside of United. You help us out. If you've got no GCSEs, man, that's it. You're going to see me jumping over your turnstile with Dino. That'll be about it.
It doesn't define who you are, but not all of you are going to be as talented as Nuruddin to have a YouTube channel or whatever, right? So in order to get by, in life, you
low blow.
I'm not talking about big talent. It doesn't take a lot of talent to talk about Manchester United when you support Manchester. Any of you can set this up, people. Trust me, it's harder than it seems. It's harder than it seems.
The reason why I'm saying to you after GCSEs, because in this country they make a look like
somebody's intent, Nuruddin, on liking either your eggs or your balls or something tonight. I don't know what is going on in those. What is that? What? Somebody schooled us. What's going on down there?
That's Sean's burner. For those who don't know,
ignore it.
That's Dodgy Dave.
I got both my hands, man. I'm not doing anything.
Sean's bots, mate. Sean's bots are coming for us. No, it's all good, people. It's not Sean. I'm just joking. But anyway, big up to everybody. Please smash a like and let us know in the comments what you think the financial situation of Manchester United. And I am absolutely honoured by these people who are going to great length in this time of the night to go and make these things about me. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Jarvis, can you let them know when you're next live?
Well, no, I'm not doing anything before Friday. We will do a match preview on is it Spurs we have Sunday?
Spurs away.
Yeah, so Stu and I will do a match preview Friday night.
Battle of the stubborn managers. Amorim versus Ange.
Yeah, he's still
that'll
there.
be interesting. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. But big up to the mods. Big up to Jamie Wayne and everybody else getting rid of the bots.
Yeah,
love and like. Please smash a like on your way out. Big up, and hopefully we'll see you maybe Thursday. If we maybe actually Friday afternoon we'll be live with Seud, doing a preview to the games well in the afternoon. So big up to every one of you. Love and light. Anything else, we'll be going live. Take care, people. Look after each other.
Big up, guys. See you.
Good chat.
Yeah,
Good
big
chat.
up.
Night all.
Right.
Good night.